Dr. Liana Gedz went in for a joyous birth, but her experience turned into a horrifying nightmare. Her surgeon, a trusted friend, left a disturbing and permanent mark on her body. Despite this alarming revelation, the surgeon managed to secure a new position. Join us as we uncover the disturbing details of this medical betrayal and explore the questions surrounding his continued practice. Dr. Liana Gedz, a journey of heartbreak. Dr. Liana Gedz was a dentist, and her husband Robert Khalil was an oral surgeon. The two had met at a dental conference in New York in 1996. They married a year later and soon became pregnant. However, their first pregnancy ended in a stillbirth in May 1998. Following this traumatic event, Dr. Gedz struggled with severe depression. A friend introduced them to Dr. Allan Zarkin, an experienced Manhattan obstetrician. Dr. Zarkin promised to help the couple have a healthy baby. Under Dr. Zarkin's care, Dr. Gedz became pregnant again. Unfortunately, she had to go through the pain of another miscarriage. Despite this setback, Dr. Zarkin's support and encouragement helped Dr. Gedz try again. Dr. Gedz became pregnant for the third time and received extensive prenatal care from Dr. Zarkin. As a result of this, the doctor-patient relationship evolved into a close friendship. Dr. Gedz and her husband even invited Dr. Zarkin to share moments outside the hospital. This included summer gatherings at their Long Island home. In 1999, Dr. Gedz was admitted to Beth Israel Medical Center Hospital in New York City due to premature labor. She remained hospitalized for 2.5 months. What happened next was a nightmare. Dr. Zarkin's actions betrayed the trust Dr. Gedz and her husband had put in him, permanently scarring their lives. The carving. On September 7, 1999, Dr. Liana Gedz underwent an emergency cesarean section at Beth Israel Medical Center in New York. Dr. Zarkin successfully delivered her premature baby girl. Emma was 6 weeks early and weighed 4 pounds 11 ounces, but she was a healthy baby. Dr. Zarkin was proud of delivering her. But what he did next was sickening. Apparently, Dr. Zarkin considered the successful C-section to be a masterpiece worthy of signing. If he was a professional athlete, signing a game ball, or an artist signing his painting. Dr. Zarkin used his scalpel to carve his initials, AZ, into Dr. Gedz's abdomen. Zarkin's staggering display of his ego and complete disregard for patient autonomy was appalling. And mind you, these initials were not small. They were at least 3 inches high and 1.5 inches wide. And what is more horrific is the fact that this act occurred in a crowded operating room. The stunned nurses and medical staff were watching as the deranged doctor carved his initials into an unconscious woman's body, a body that just went through childbirth. Reportedly, a resident doctor even burst out laughing when he realized what was happening. How could medical professionals witness this and fail to intervene? The discovery. When Dr. Gedz woke up from sedation, she felt unusual pain around her abdomen. But what really confused her was the strange behavior of the hospital staff. They kept coming into her room, seemingly eager to glimpse under her bandages. Dr. Gedz was baffled. "What's going on?" she wondered. Their odd behavior heightened her concerns, making her feel anxious and uneasy. No one would answer her questions or explain what was happening until 2 days later. On September 9th, Dr. Zarkin and the hospital's chairman of obstetrics, Dr. Daniel Saltzman, visited her room. Dr. Saltzman ominously hinted at knowing what happened in the operating room. Upon hearing this, Dr. Gedz was done with being confused. She immediately demanded a mirror, and upon seeing her abdomen, she was mortified. The carved initials AZ stared back at her, swollen, infected, and puffy. They were a clear and cruel act of violation. The new mother was traumatized. She couldn't believe her eyes. She later confessed that she felt like she was raped. The carved initials left a painful welt, a constant reminder of the assault. "I felt like a branded animal," Dr. Gedz said, poignantly describing the devastating impact. She also confessed that she was too embarrassed to get undressed in front of her husband because she had another man's initials on her stomach. Dr. Gedz confronted Dr. Allan Zarkin, seeking answers to his crime. But his response was appalling. He outright told her that after the way he took care of her, he did not owe anyone an explanation. The sheer audacity of his act and his defense was not only outrageous but also deplorable. And that's when it hit Dr. Gedz. She'd been brutalized by a man she called a friend. Her trust was shattered, and the hospital's silence made it worse. She also had to make a difficult decision. She could either continue living with the demeaning scar or undergo painful and extensive plastic surgery to remove it. The aftermath, Dr. Allan Zarkin faced swift consequences for carving his initials into Dr. Liana Gedz's abdomen. Beth Israel Hospital suspended him immediately, and he later resigned. His Murray Hill practice also fired him. However, no jail time meant that Zarkin could land a job elsewhere. He could harm more people, and that exactly is what happened. Zarkin managed to land a job at a Queens abortion clinic. Fortunately, the clinic quickly fired him when they learned about the incident about the carving. Meanwhile, Dr. Gedz sued Zarkin, Beth Israel, and his practice for $5.5 million, citing negligence and malpractice. The State Health Department and Manhattan DA's office investigated. They also uncovered previous complaints about Zarkin's inappropriate behavior towards staff and patients. As the investigation continued, more disturbing facts came to light. It was revealed that Dr. Zarkin tried to remove a breathing tube from newborn Emma, but a nurse stopped him. The hospital knew about this incident but didn't take action. The hospital's response was criticized, especially Dr. Saltzman's attempts to clear Dr. Zarkin of blame. The Gedz family's experience highlights the need for accountability in healthcare. The defense Dr. Zarkin's defense team, led by lawyer Barry Fallick, attributed his actions to a medical condition called Pick's disease. This is a rare form of dementia similar to Alzheimer's. Pick's disease affects specific brain areas, leading to loss of impulse control, changes in personality and behavior, decreased empathy, and increased recklessness. Zarkin's defense claimed that his brain disorder made him unaware of his actions and unable to control them. Dr. Zarkin's defense team, spearheaded by the renowned lawyer Barry Fallick, presented a compelling argument that attributed his actions to a rare and debilitating medical condition known as Pick's disease. This intricate defense strategy sought to establish that Dr. Zarkin's behavior was not the result of malicious intent or criminal culpability, but rather the unfortunate consequence of a neurological disorder. Pick's disease, a form of frontotemporal dementia, shares some similarities with Alzheimer's disease. However, it is distinguished by its specific impact on certain areas of the brain, particularly the frontal and temporal lobes. This selective targeting leads to a constellation of symptoms that profoundly affect an individual's cognitive abilities, personality, and behavior. However, Health Commissioner Antonia Novello revealed earlier incidents of Zarkin's totally inappropriate behavior, including lewd comments and inappropriate behavior towards staff and patients. Despite these red flags, Beth Israel Hospital failed to take action. Prosecutors rejected Zarkin's defense, arguing that the assault was heinous and intentional. They also criticized Beth Israel Hospital's negligence in ignoring previous complaints, enabling Zarkin's behavior. Gedz's lawyer called this defense silly and said Zarkin's actions were arrogant and insane. Prosecutor Robert Morgenthau said serious crimes like this are prosecuted by the state, not individuals. Zarkin faced up to 25 years in prison. Investigations showed Zarkin had a history of bad behavior, including yelling at staff and handling babies roughly. In the end, Zarkin got 5 years probation, paid Gedz $1.75 million, and lost his medical license. But for the victim, no amount of money could erase the trauma of being branded by a doctor she once trusted. Another disturbing aspect of this case is the hospital's failure to promptly report the incident. Instead, they only took action after it became public knowledge. This delay exposes a troubling truth. The hospital prioritized protecting their reputation over patient safety and well-being. Dr. Zarkin's case also raises questions about balancing punishment with understanding mental health issues. While his illness may have contributed to his actions, it doesn't excuse them. Justice requires compassion and consequence. That's all for today. Thanks for reading. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.